challenges for the kids. just got a snot face on.
Filming fun spot yet, Joe? Still a fun spot.
I just found my so I talked to him.
Arranged Can you hear me? Wonderful. Okay, all right, we are going to close out tonight's portion of the concert with Fidgets by Eugene Buceloff. All right, we'll be heading into a little bit of a transition here. So jazz band is going to be coming down towards you guys, and you're free to talk amongst yourselves once our fifth graders get settled.
Hi. I know.
Drama and tension was what Larry Clark had in mind when he wrote Colossus. This bold fanfare shows off the full sound and hard work of the 5th grade band in our first year of playing. We hope you enjoyed our explosive performance, Colossus.
Made up of smooth melodies and eerie harmonies, Haley Woodrow was inspired to make the audience on a journey with her piece. As we play, imagine the feeling of a foggy day in the mountains with our next piece, Blue Mist.
All right, last time you hear from me, as I give my thanks here. So first of all, thank you so much for joining tonight's band concert. We really appreciate you guys being here. The students have worked so hard to make sure that you guys have a great performance to listen to, especially our 5th graders here who you heard the last concerts. We've made a lot of progress. So they have worked very hard to make sure that you guys are hearing that progress, and we're going from our squeaks, squawks, honks, whatever we started with, to these beautiful sounds. So thank you so much for all of your support. I also want to give a big thank you to Miles Otstadt, the high school band director, and David Najar, the choir director. Both of them have been great at supporting me, this program, and making sure that stuff like this can happen so smoothly. I also want to thank Nick Girton and all the Watertown Mayor's staff for all their help supporting this program, and a big thank you to the custodial staff for getting everything you see set up here today. Finally, huge thank you to you parents here for showing up, supporting the program, and making sure that your kids stay involved in bands. So, without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to Lainey to introduce our last piece.
A concert band is made up of several different sections, such as the flute section, the clarinet section, and the trumpet section, the little brass section, and so on. Popcorn Pudding by Mike Hannicol was created to give each section a turn to be featured in a creative way. Thank you for coming to our concert, and we hope you enjoy Popcorn Pudding.
Thank you for coming to our concert tonight. The first piece that you heard today was The Spirit of Kilkenny by Carol Britton Chambers. This piece was inspired by the city of Kilkenny in southeast Ireland, which is known for the historic Kilkenny Castle. This piece has allowed us to work on playing 6/8 time. This is a time signature of jigs, a common style of music and dance in Irish culture.
The next piece that the 8th grade band will play tonight is Dragon Ship by Larry Meek. The Dragon Ship was a Viking longship that had carved heads of dragons and other magical beings mounted on the bow. These were special ships as they carried Viking chieftains and kings. This piece begins with a ghostly opening and then builds to a fierce and forceful battle. We hope you enjoy Dragon Ship.
The next piece will be Sketches of Canada. This piece has 3 Canadian folk songs arranged by for a band by Michael Story. The first song, A False Young Man, has allowed us to work on playing delicately and lightly. The Maid on the Shore is the second song, as is beautiful as a piece that works on slow and lyrical playing. The final song is The Bold Wolf, which is a powerful piece that helped us working on recounting and syncopation. Please hold your applause until all three pieces are finished. Hope you enjoy Sketches of Canada.
all of you for coming tonight. It's such a fun concert to see the 5th graders, and I've heard them all year, and Ms. Delaney's done great work with them, just seeing their progress, and then seeing the 8th graders, finishing up their middle school career and going on to high school. It's just such a lot of really great music, and we just really appreciate you coming. To reiterate what Ms. Delaney said earlier, big thanks to all the school staff and administration, custodians, all the people who work here who help make this a successful music program, a great place to work, and just a great place to make music. We will be selling cookies and shout-outs after the concert outside of the doors. All of that money goes to our band boosters to help buy new instruments and new different things. We bought a couple instruments this year for the high school. We're just trying to expand and get newer stuff. So any money you would want to spend on cookies or just donate, we'd really appreciate that. One more big thank you to Ms. Delaney. It's her first year teaching this year, and she's done an absolutely fantastic job. It's always a little nervous, new person, but no worries anymore because she's done just a great job, and super, super grateful we have her here working with our kids. Yeah. So before we play our last piece, just to also thank you to parents, all of your support, and thank you to the kids. They're a fun group, tons of personality with these 8th graders. Most of the time we're having a good time and making music, and there's a lot of very, very talented kids, which I'm sure you've heard throughout the night. This next piece is a hard one, a fun one, but I figured I'd challenge them. I gave it to them a little late maybe, and they're like, this is really hard. I'm like, it'll be fine. And as you'll hear, they've done a really, really great job and just made a ton of really great music. So I will let Nikita tell you about this last song.
The final piece we will be playing tonight is Lady Gaga Dance Mix, arranged by Ted Ricketts. Lady Gaga is a global superstar who has written some of the biggest pop hits of the past century. This piece includes arrangements of Poker Face, Bad Romance, and Just Dance. We've had a lot of fun learning this piece. Thanks for coming to our concert tonight, and we hope you enjoy Lady Gaga Dance Mix.